Imagine waking up to headlines that NASA and the Pentagon, the most powerful space players on Earth, are suddenly urging everyone but SpaceX to move faster. What could push these titans to act now, and why is Elon Musk, the king of commercial space, at the center of this brewing storm? Today, we dive into the high-stakes battle that's reshaping the future of space, and it's far bigger than any billionaire feud. To understand the urgency, we need to rewind. The commercial space race didn't start with flashy launches or billionaire tweets. It was born from Cold War rivalry, with the launch of Sputnik in the late 1950s igniting a competition between superpowers. By the 1980s, the United States sought private innovation, deregulating telecoms and passing the Commercial Space Launch Act. Still, it took another 2 decades before private companies could truly compete. Enter SpaceX in the early 2000s. With reusable rockets, Elon Musk's company slashed the astronomical costs of reaching orbit. Suddenly, NASA and the Pentagon saw new options. The Commercial Crew Program allowed other firms, like Blue Origin and Rocket Lab, to join the race. Today, the landscape is crowded. Over 8,000 satellites circle above us, with SpaceX's Starlink alone responsible for over half. But the market is growing at warp speed. In the first quarter of 2025, space startups pulled in over $4.5 billion, 30% more than the year before. Blue Origin just celebrated its first successful New Glenn launch, while Rocket Lab's Neutron rocket is gaining momentum. The European Space Agency is pouring nearly 17 billion euros into space ventures between 2023 and 2027. Even China is closing in, with its massive Long March 9 rocket and a bold vision for lunar dominance. As Dr. Scott Pace of the Space Policy Institute puts it, the Trump-Musk feud highlights the need for clear and consistent government policies regarding commercial space activities. So why, with so much progress, are NASA and the Pentagon hitting the panic button? It's not just about rivalry or innovation. Behind the scenes, tensions between Elon Musk and former President Trump have spilled into public view. This feud is causing deep concern at the highest levels. As Chad Anderson from Space Capital notes, the increasing availability of capital is fueling innovation and competition, but it's also making the ecosystem volatile. For agencies responsible for national security and the future of space exploration, relying too heavily on one unpredictable player is now seen as a risk. Suddenly, government money and attention is flowing to SpaceX's rivals. New regulations are demanding stricter plans to tackle the growing threat of space debris. The space tourism market, projected to reach nearly $2 billion by 2030, brings its own set of challenges: ethical, environmental, and political. And with the International Space Station set to retire by 2030, the question of who will build and control the next generation of space infrastructure is wide open. But here's where things get really interesting. Can SpaceX's competitors realistically catch up, or is the world swapping one monopoly for another? Will government intervention break up a space empire, or simply create new risks? And what happens if a political feud decides who gets to control the future of humanity's access to the stars? Let's look ahead. What does this new space race mean for the future? If SpaceX's rivals manage to accelerate, we could see a profound transformation in global space power. Experts warn that putting all our cosmic eggs in one basket, especially when that basket is Elon Musk, makes both NASA and the Pentagon uneasy. As Dr. Scott Pace from George Washington University puts it, the Trump-Musk feud highlights the need for clear and consistent government policies regarding commercial space activities. This moment isn't just about rockets. It's about who controls the keys to humanity's off-world ambitions. On the horizon are several possible scenarios. Imagine Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket, which had its successful inaugural launch in May 2025, ramping up to compete head-to-head with SpaceX's Falcon Heavy. Rocket Lab's Neutron could revolutionize medium-lift launches, while European and Chinese agencies are pouring billions. Yes, the European Space Agency will invest over 16 billion euros by 2027 into catching up. Meanwhile, startups raised $4.5 billion just in the first quarter of 2025, signaling a frenzy of innovation. But rapid expansion comes with risks. The number of operational satellites has already soared past 8,000, and over half belong to just one company, SpaceX. With this level of congestion, the threat of catastrophic chain reaction debris events, the so-called Kessler syndrome, grows every year. To counter this, the FAA mandated new debris mitigation plans in April, and companies are quietly racing to develop next-generation cleanup tech. As Joanne Gabernowitz, editor-in-chief of the Journal of Space Law, stresses, international cooperation is essential for addressing the growing problem of space debris and ensuring the long-term sustainability of space activities. There's also a new gold rush, space tourism. Projections show that by 2030 it could be a $1.7 billion market. But here's the catch. Space launches have a heavy carbon footprint, and as more people book tickets to the edge of the atmosphere, the ethical dilemmas and regulatory headaches will only grow. Dr. Erica Wagner of MIT reminds us, space tourism has the potential to democratize access to space, but it also raises important ethical and environmental considerations. What does all of this mean for you? First, space is no longer a distant dream. It's shaping the technology and economy you live with every day. From satellite internet to weather forecasting and global positioning, the boom in launches means faster connections, better coverage, and more competition that could lower prices and open up new services. If you invest in tech or keep an eye on startups, now is the time to watch space companies, not just SpaceX, but the entire ecosystem of rivals and new entrants, many flush with venture capital. This is an opportunity to understand how government policies and international agreements can impact not only markets, but even the security of digital life on Earth. On a broader level, the space race teaches us about risk, resilience, and the dangers of monopoly. Lori Garver, former NASA deputy administrator, said it best. Diversifying the space industrial base is crucial for ensuring resilience and preventing any single company from having undue influence over national space policy. Whether you work in tech, policy, or just care about the future, that lesson is universal. No single player should wield unchecked power in systems so vital to civilization. Here's a secret fact most people miss. While the headlines are dominated by Musk and billionaires, the real action may happen quietly in international boardrooms and regulatory agencies. Decisions made in the next few years about cooperation, debris, and investment will shape not just who owns space, but whether humanity's expansion beyond Earth will be sustainable. What do you think? Should governments intervene more, or let the market decide the next space leaders? Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe for more global tech stories, and join us as we track the next giant leap for humankind. Until next time, keep looking up, and remember, the future is not just written in the stars,